You know that sibling who always has to one-up you? For me, that's Hannah. She's stolen my clothes, my friends, my spotlight, everything since we were kids. I used to think she'd grow out of it, but when Ethan proposed to me, I learned something terrifying. Hannah wasn't just jealous. She was obsessed. When Ethan slipped that ring on my finger, I thought my life was finally mine. He's steady, warm, the kind of man who sees me, not just the chaos around me. I wanted to scream it from the rooftops. Instead, I started small. I told my parents and Hannah first. We were at my parents' house. Mom had just set down a tray of tea, Dad was half watching the news, and Hannah was scrolling on her phone, as usual. My heart was pounding, palms sweaty, but when Ethan reached for my hand, I couldn't stop smiling. We have some news, I said, and I held up my hand so the diamond caught the light. Mom gasped. Dad actually sat up straighter, and for a moment, just a moment, I thought Hannah might be happy for me. She leaned forward, eyes wide, mouth open. Then she said, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. Daniel and I were literally talking about getting engaged last night." I froze. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table, grounding me, but my smile faltered. Mom immediately launched into questions about Ethan's proposal, but Hannah kept jumping in, comparing it to what Daniel might do. Was it at a restaurant? Daniel would never. He says proposals should be private. Did Ethan get down on one knee? Daniel wants to do it differently. I wanted to scream. It was my moment, and somehow Hannah was twisting it into hers. After dinner, she cornered me in the kitchen while Ethan chatted with my dad. She grinned, a little too wide. "Don't worry, Isla. I won't steal your thunder. But, you know, Daniel and I don't want a long engagement. So, your wedding might not be first." It hit me like a punch to the stomach. She wasn't congratulating me. She was warning me. When Ethan and I drove home, I sat in silence, staring at the ring on my hand. Finally, I whispered, "She's going to ruin this for me." He reached over, took my hand, and kissed it gently. "She can only ruin it if you let her." But deep down, I knew Hannah wasn't going to stop. Over the next few weeks, planning should have been joyful. Rachel, my best friend and maid of honor, came with me to look at venues. We toured this gorgeous vineyard just outside the city, stone archways, fairy lights, the works. I fell in love instantly. While we were filling out paperwork, Hannah happened to show up. She claimed she was just in the area. I didn't buy it. Rachel shot me a look, but I tried to play nice. Hannah walked around like she owned the place, asking the coordinator about menus and wine pairings. She even asked if the dates around mine were available. My stomach dropped. That night, I called my mom, furious. "She's booking her engagement party at the same venue, Mom." She followed me there. But Mom sighed, like I was being dramatic. "Isla, honey, Hannah just admires your taste. Don't take it so personally." Rachel told me later, "Your mom always excuses her, doesn't she?" And she was right. It had always been that way. Hannah threw tantrums, and I got told to be the bigger person. But this time, it was different. This was my wedding. A few days later, Hannah called me herself. Her tone was sickly sweet. "So, funny thing," she said, "Daniel and I might move our date up. Maybe, to the same weekend as yours." I nearly dropped my phone. "You can't be serious." "Relax, Isla. There's enough love to go around." My blood boiled. I wanted to scream at her, but all I managed was, "If you do this, Hannah, you'll regret it." She just laughed. "We'll see." When I hung up, Ethan found me shaking, clutching my phone like it was poison. He pulled me into his arms, and I buried my face in his chest. "She's trying to steal it from me," I whispered. "She's going to take my wedding." And for the first time in my life, I realized I couldn't just sit back and let her win. There's something sacred about wedding dress shopping. At least, that's what I thought. I imagined champagne glasses, soft music, Rachel by my side, maybe even my mom, though she tends to hover too much. I wanted it to feel magical, like a rite of passage. But of course, Hannah had other plans. Rachel and I had an appointment at this gorgeous boutique downtown, plush white couches, mirrors framed in gold, rows of silk and lace gowns glowing under warm lights. The consultant, a sweet woman named Clara, brought us bubbly water and asked about my vision. I told her, classic, elegant, lace details. Something timeless. The first dress I tried on made Rachel cry. She clasped her hands together, eyes shining. Isla, you look like you just stepped out of a fairy tale. I turned in the mirror, cheeks hot. I'd never felt so beautiful. I could see it, Ethan's face when I walked down the aisle. I wanted this moment burned into my memory forever. And then the bell above the door jingled. I stepped out of the fitting room to see Hannah waltzing in, all smiles, dragging my mom behind her. My stomach sank. Oh my gosh. Hannah squealed. Isla, that dress is cute. But you know what would look better? Something with more structure. You're too petite for all that lace. Mom was beaming. We thought it would be fun to surprise you, sweetie. Fun. Right. Rachel's jaw tightened. I forced a smile. Sure, the more the merrier. But inside, I was fuming. While I changed into the next gown, I heard Hannah's voice through the curtain, chatting up Clara. Actually, I might need a gown myself, sooner than expected. My fiancé and I are thinking of moving up the date. I gripped the dress hanger so hard my knuckles whitened. She was doing it again, making my day hers. When I stepped out in the second dress, Hannah gasped dramatically. Wow. That's bold. But you know, Isla, this one would look amazing on me. Clara, do you have this in a size 4? Rachel muttered under her breath, unbelievable. Hannah tried on 3 gowns. White, lacy, flowing, eerily similar to the ones I'd picked. She twirled, posing like she was on a runway. Mom clapped like she was at a fashion show. At one point, Hannah stepped out wearing a fitted gown with lace sleeves, almost identical to the one I'd fallen in love with earlier. She smirked at me in the mirror. Don't we look alike, Isla? People might confuse us. Something in me snapped. I stepped closer, staring her down. You wouldn't dare wear that to my wedding. Her smirk deepened. Why not? White is tradition. You can't claim ownership over a color. Mom interjected quickly. Girls, please. Let's not make this a competition. But that's exactly what it was. That night, I sat in my apartment, dress catalogs spread across the table. Ethan sat across from me, watching me flip pages with trembling hands. She's going to show up in white, I know it, I muttered. She'll try to outshine me. Ethan leaned forward, calm as always. Then don't give her the chance. Get something so unique, no one can compete. That's when Rachel called. Hear me out. Don't fight her on her level. Outplay her. Find something bold, something unforgettable. Something that will make her look ridiculous if she tries to copy you. The idea sank into me like a spark. I went back to Clara, alone this time, and asked her to pull something different. Not white. Not traditional. Something that would break every rule but still feel bridal. She hesitated. Not every bride is brave enough to step away from white. I don't care, I said. I need brave. And that's how I found it, the gold gown. It shimmered like sunlight on water, embroidered with delicate silver thread. When I put it on, I didn't just feel like a bride. I felt untouchable. I whispered to myself in the mirror, try and follow this, Hannah. A week later, the family gathered for dinner. Hannah was already buzzing with energy, her phone out, showing Mom photos of gowns. This one's my favorite, she said, sliding the screen toward me. It was, of course, another white lace gown, nearly identical to the ones I'd tried first. I forced a neutral smile. It's nice. She narrowed her eyes. What about yours? What did you pick? I sipped my water slowly. Oh, you'll see. Her smile faltered just for a second, and I savored it. But she wasn't done. She leaned back in her chair and announced casually, Daniel and I have been talking. We might wear matching white at your wedding. It's part of his family's tradition. My fork clattered against the plate. What? Mom jumped in. Isla, don't overreact. If it's their tradition. It's my wedding. I snapped, louder than I intended. The room went silent. My dad cleared his throat but didn't intervene. Hannah just shrugged, feigning innocence. Relax. It's not like anyone will mistake us for the bride. Rachel's words echoed in my mind, don't fight her. Outplay her. I looked at Hannah and smiled sweetly. You're right. No one will. She blinked, thrown off by my sudden calm. For once, I had the upper hand. Because little did she know, the dress I'd chosen would make sure of it. Update, I didn't think it could get worse, but it did. Hi again. A lot of you asked for an update after my first post, and honestly? I wasn't going to. I thought maybe I was overreacting, maybe I should just keep my head down and focus on Ethan and the wedding. But then Hannah did what Hannah always does, she pushed things so far I couldn't stay quiet anymore. So here it is. Remember how I said Hannah was eyeing the same venue as me? Well, she went ahead and did it. Not for her wedding, oh no, that would have been too obvious. She booked her engagement party there. A week before my wedding. Same vineyard. Same hall. Practically the same decorations, just cheaper versions. When I found out, I swear I saw red. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through Instagram, when Rachel sent me a screenshot. Hannah had posted, so excited to celebrate our love at the vineyard's name. Counting down the days, with a big glittery ring emoji. I almost threw my phone across the room. Ethan had to pry it out of my hand. Calm down, Isla, he said, rubbing my shoulders. It's just a party. But it wasn't just a party. She'd copied me. Again. I called my mom immediately, ready to unleash. But of course, she brushed it off. Sweetheart, it's only one night. There's enough space in that venue for both of you. Think of it as a dress rehearsal for them. A dress rehearsal. For my wedding. I nearly screamed. Dad, as usual, stayed quiet. He always did when Hannah was involved. And that silence? It felt like betrayal. A few days later, Daniel, yes, Hannah's fiancé, actually reached out to me privately. I wasn't expecting it. He called, voice low, like he didn't want Hannah to overhear. Isla, he said, I need to apologize. I didn't know Hannah was going to book the vineyard. I thought she'd pick somewhere else. Honestly. I tried to talk her out of it. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Daniel, this isn't about a venue. It's about her trying to take everything from me. Can't you see that? He sighed. Yeah. Believe me, I see it. She gets competitive with you. Always has. But she won't listen to me. If I push, she'll just double down. I wanted to feel bad for him, but mostly I just felt tired. So what am I supposed to do? Sit back and let her ruin the one day I've dreamed about my whole life? There was a pause. Then he said, almost conspiratorially, maybe don't fight her. Outshine her. The words jolted me. They echoed what Rachel had said. Don't fight. Outplay. And for the first time, I realized, maybe I couldn't stop Hannah. But I could make sure she looked ridiculous trying. Rachel, bless her, became my co-conspirator. We sat at my kitchen table, plotting like generals before a battle. Okay, she said, scribbling notes. She's expecting white gowns, lace, maybe something understated. You already have the gold dress, that's your nuke. But let's think bigger. I raised an eyebrow. Bigger? Music. Lighting. The reception. If she tries to pull anything, you'll have surprises lined up. Plan for sabotage, Isla. Be 2 steps ahead. So that's what we did. We worked with the DJ to create custom mixes. Our first dance would start traditionally but shift into something unexpected, something Hannah would never anticipate. We adjusted the seating chart to make sure she couldn't commandeer the spotlight. I even ordered a cake topper that was so us, so Ethan and Isla, that no one could mistake who the day belonged to. It felt sneaky. But also empowering. For once, I wasn't just the sister picking up the pieces. I was fighting back. But Hannah wasn't done. Oh no. A week before the wedding, right after her engagement party, which she plastered all over social media like it was the royal wedding, she called me. Her voice was syrupy sweet. Hey sis. Just wanted to give you a heads up, I'm thinking of wearing white to your wedding. Daniel's family says it's tradition. I nearly dropped my phone. You're kidding. Nope, she chirped. I don't want to disrespect their culture. You understand, right? My blood boiled. Hannah, if you show up in white, you will be escorted out. She gasped like I'd slapped her. Isla, wow. Are you really going to be that petty on your big day? People will think you're insecure. I wanted to scream, but instead, I smiled into the phone. Wear whatever you want. Just know, everyone will see you for exactly who you are. There was silence on the line. For once, I had the last word. So here we are. My wedding is tomorrow. My dress is hanging in the closet, glowing like molten sunlight. Ethan is asleep beside me, calm as ever, while I sit here typing this out. I don't know what Hannah's going to do. I don't know if she'll show up in white, or if she'll try to upstage me again. But I do know this, I'm ready. Because this time I won't let her steal my day. Wish me luck. Update, the wedding happened. And yes, Hannah tried it. I honestly don't even know where to start. My hands are still shaking as I type this, but I know you all wanted to hear what happened. So here goes, my wedding day, or as Hannah probably calls it, the day Isla stole her spotlight. The morning started out calm. Too calm, honestly. Rachel and I got ready in the bridal suite, sipping champagne, the stylists fussing with my hair. The gold gown hung by the window, sunlight catching every thread. Even after weeks of staring at it, my breath still caught when I looked at it. You're untouchable in that dress, Rachel whispered, squeezing my hand. She won't stand a chance. I wanted to believe her. But then my phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. Just a heads up. Hannah's in white. Sorry. I tried. My stomach dropped. My worst fear was real. When it was finally time to walk down the aisle, my heart pounded so loud I could barely hear the music. I stepped into the hall and there she was, front row, grinning like she owned the place, wearing a floor-length white gown. Lace sleeves. Sparkling belt. Practically a wedding dress. Gasps rippled through the guests. Rachel muttered a curse under her breath. My mother actually smiled, like it was no big deal. But then I stepped forward. The room hushed. My gown shimmered gold and silver under the lights, every step catching fire. For a heartbeat, all eyes were on me. Then another. Then another. And Hannah's smile faltered. I saw it, the flicker of rage in her eyes when she realized she'd been outplayed. She didn't look like a bride. She looked like a copycat. An imposter. And everyone knew it. Ethan's face lit up like I'd descended from heaven. That moment alone made every ounce of stress worth it. We said our vows. We kissed. And for a blissful 30 minutes, it felt like nothing could ruin it. Then came the reception. The first dance started just like we'd planned, soft, romantic, classical. But halfway through, the DJ hit the switch. Suddenly, the music morphed into Hannah's favorite pop song, the one she always bragged about wanting at her wedding. The crowd erupted into cheers and laughter, thinking it was all intentional. Ethan spun me around, and I laughed so hard I nearly cried. People clapped along, filming on their phones. And Hannah? Her face turned crimson. She tried to laugh it off, but when some of the guests started joking, "Hey, isn't that your song, Hannah?" I thought she might combust on the spot. She stormed over to my parents, whispering furiously, then disappeared from the dance floor altogether. Dinner was served. Speeches were made. And Hannah? She sulked in the corner, white gown practically glowing with humiliation. At one point, she tried to give an impromptu toast, but Rachel intercepted, clinking her glass louder and pulling the spotlight back to me and Ethan. The look on Hannah's face could have curdled milk. Finally, midway through dessert, she snapped. She stood up, chair scraping against the floor, and announced, "Some people are just desperate for attention. It's pathetic." The room went silent. My mom hissed, "Hannah, sit down." But she didn't. She stomped out, dragging Daniel behind her, leaving the door swinging in her wake. And just like that, she was gone. Afterward, my parents scolded me. Me. "Did you have to rub it in her face with that dress?" my mom demanded. "You knew she was sensitive." Sensitive. That word nearly broke me. I wanted to scream that it was my wedding, not Hannah's stage. Ethan put his arm around me, shielding me from their criticism, but deep down, it still stung. Because even on my wedding night, Hannah somehow managed to make it about her. Still, when I looked back at the photos, the videos, the laughter on everyone's faces during that first dance, I knew I'd won. For once, Hannah wasn't the star. I was. And I can't lie, it felt incredible. Final update, my sister finally admitted the truth. "Hi again. This will be my last update because, honestly, I'm exhausted." The wedding is over, Hannah stormed out, and for a few days afterward, I thought I could just move on. But my family wouldn't let it go. And what happened at the family meeting after the wedding, well, I don't think I'll ever forget it. 3 days after the wedding, my mom called and said, "We need to talk as a family." Everyone. I knew what that meant. Hannah had been crying to them, spinning her side of the story, and now I was about to be put on trial. Ethan begged to come with me, but my mom insisted it was just us Morgans. Against my better judgment, I went alone. When I walked into my parents' living room, Hannah was already there, arms crossed, Daniel beside her looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. My mom sat on the edge of the couch, nervous smile plastered on her face. My dad stood by the window, silent as always. The air was heavy, like a storm about to break. Hannah started before I'd even sat down. "I can't believe you humiliated me at your wedding, Isla. You deliberately chose that dress to make me look stupid." I laughed bitterly. "You wore white to my wedding, Hannah." "Who humiliated who?" Her jaw clenched. "It's tradition in Daniel's family." Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "Actually, it's not." Hannah's head snapped toward him. "Daniel." He sighed. "I'm sorry, but I can't keep lying for you. My family doesn't have a white dress tradition." "You made that up." The room fell silent. My mom's eyes widened, my dad's shoulders tensed. For the first time, Hannah looked cornered. I leaned forward, voice steady. "So you admit it, you tried to upstage me." Her mask cracked. She threw up her hands. "Fine. Yes. I wanted the attention. I wanted people to notice me for once, not you." Her voice trembled, eyes flashing with anger and something else, hurt. "You've always been the favorite," she spat. "You were the good daughter. The pretty one. The one who got straight A's, the one Dad bragged about. I was just the leftover. So yeah, maybe I wanted one day to feel like it was mine." My chest tightened. For years, I'd seen Hannah as selfish, petty, cruel. And now, for the first time, I saw the root of it. Her jealousy wasn't about stealing from me. It was about filling a hole inside her. But that didn't excuse what she did. I took a deep breath. You could have had your own day, Hannah. But you tried to take mine. And I can't forgive that. She froze, eyes glassy. So that's it? You're just cutting me off? I nodded slowly. Unless you can truly apologize, not just to me, but to Ethan, to Rachel, to everyone you disrespected, I can't have you in my life. Not like this. For a moment, I thought she might break down and beg for forgiveness. But instead, she stood up, chin high, and walked out. Daniel followed, shooting me a sad, apologetic look. After she left, my mom tried to scold me again. Isla, she's hurting. Can't you just let it go? But for once, my dad spoke up. His voice was quiet but firm. Lillian, enough. Isla has every right to be angry. Hannah crossed a line. The shock on my mom's face mirrored my own. Dad had finally picked a side. My side. I left that house feeling lighter than I had in years. Since then, Hannah hasn't spoken to me. Daniel sent a text apologizing again, saying he doesn't know what the future holds for their relationship. My mom keeps pushing for reconciliation, but I've stopped listening. For the first time in my life, I'm setting boundaries. Ethan and I are moving forward, planning our honeymoon, framing photos from the wedding, laughing every time we see Hannah in the background of pictures, sulking in her white gown while everyone else beams at us. Do I feel guilty? A little. I never wanted things to get this ugly. But when I look back, I know I didn't start this war. Hannah did. And I finally ended it. So, Reddit, that's the end of the story. I don't know if Hannah and I will ever reconcile. Maybe one day. Maybe not. But either way, my wedding was beautiful, my marriage is strong, and for once, the day was mine. Thanks for listening. And that's where Isla's story ends, with Hannah's confession, a fractured family, and Isla finally claiming her day. But what do you think? Was Hannah's jealousy understandable, or did she cross a line that can never be forgiven? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.